With spring in the air and flowers popping up, I thought this was an appropriate statement necklace as a tutorial. So it's 3 flowers linked together, bound together with wire. So it makes quite a statement, looks great on a plain coloured top. And you can make it with any bead colours that you want to match your outfit. So here's a sort of smaller version that I actually wear quite a lot with red and black, and but you can do it any colours you wish. So what you need is a mandrel, anything round and cylindrical to wrap around, and the size of that mandrel will determine the size of each of the flowers. So you want to wrap that around, create a coil, so you're working from the spool, and you want at least 6 or 7 complete circles on your coil. And then you cut it from the spool, but you leave a projecting end that is at least 7 or 8 inches long. So now go to the shortest cut end, and you're going to wire wrap that around all the coils at in one area. So do it tightly, don't over wrap. You probably only want sort of 2 complete wraps, otherwise it's going to get very bulky in that area. So just 2 complete wraps, squash it down, make sure it's held tight, and then bring the projecting longer wire out from that point. So you've got them all bound together in one place. Now get the tips of your round nose, or not round nose, it could be round nose, but these are the chain nose pliers, and then just twist just off the center of that circle, and you get this little sort of nook or bend in the wire, and that's going to create the sort of the petal, the start of the petal shapes. And now you want to ease and fan out each of those petals and bring them around to create a circular shape, which will be the flower. So you might have more petals than me, which will give you a fuller flower, but I'm doing it quite open because it's going to sit on an outfit, so you'll see the colour of your outfit through it. It's more a sort of an outline. That's what I want. So there we go, and then I'm going to put in a few more little bends at the top. You don't have to do this, you can just leave it as it is, but it sort of gives this sort of corrugated effect, like a carnation that has those sort of tattered ends. I quite like the look of, it's more organic than just sort of loopy petals. So there's one flower, and now you want to hammer just the very, very tip. So use your planishing end, the steel end of your hammer, and just stroke, hammer and flatten and work harden the very ends of those petals. You don't want to hammer one petal into another, so you might have to lift them up a little to get to the ends if they're overlapping. But basically go around all those raggedy ends and give them a work hardening, and that will create a good solid structure for the flower. So that's how you make each of the flowers. You're going to make 2 more, and obviously I'm picking up my beads. I'm going to go for this sort of like green teal color, I think, for the theme color of my piece, but of course you can mix and match different colors. And now you're going to post that long end, that long projecting end of wire, back through the center and bring it to the middle on the opposite side, so it's really strongly bound in. And then whichever beads you're going to use for your centerpiece of each of the flowers, you place them on, bring it right down to the flower, make a little bend. I'm putting a little bend there, so that, because the bead is quite a large bead, and I don't want it to sit sideways, and that just makes it sit centrally in the center of the flower. You see the 2 sides are lifted and it can sit nice and centrally. And now you're going to bring the wire back to the back and then back up through the front so it's bound onto the center. Make sure it's sort of sitting well there. And then with the remaining bit of wire, wrap it around and around the outer edge of your bead. And that will create a sort of fake setting for it, sort of a little bit of an outline and a framework, and we'll just make that bead stand out. And wherever the end lands, just make sure you squeeze that down and away into the base of where you've wire wrapped it. And now just go around the flower, manipulating it so that it looks roughly, I don't know, it's organic, but just looks even. So you want to make 2 more flowers. Of course, you can use different colored beads. I've just chosen to make mine in a theme. And now 0.4mm wire is going to be used to connect those 3 pieces together. So you want to cut little snips, little short lengths of this, 2-3 inch pieces, and place them together. And then where the petals touch, that's where you want to bind them. So obviously each time you make this, it'll be slightly different. And you just want to put these just tiny little bindings where they meet. You don't have to do lots and lots of binding because it doesn't want to be too obvious. It sort of wants to, just disappear in the main focal part of it. So I'm putting, I don't know, about 4 bindings, and then I'm going to cut the wires off, and then I'm going to flatten them down. Make sure you flatten them well with your flat nose pliers or chain nose pliers. Make sure there's no ends sitting up because that will catch on an outfit. I tend to put all my ends on the front because that way, if you have an outfit or you're wearing a scarf which has sort of open weave, you don't want any of those wires to catch or lift up. So I put all my ends on the front and make sure they're completely flattened down. So I've connected now 2 of them, but then I will carry on binding, putting little binding wires wherever they're touching. And you can see here I've already bound these 3 flowers together, all at these different areas, you see. And each time, as I say, you do it, it'll be different. You want it to feel that it's one solid mass or one piece. And then I've hung a bead, a pendant bead from the end. You don't have to do that, but I just like giving it a little touch at the end. And then I'm going to thread some more beads coming out from the necklace, each side of the necklace, and link those on to complete the piece. And there you can see I've used figures of 8 links and beads to finish off my piece. So have fun making your own versions. Thank you for watching.